Deep within the tall grass of the Kenyan savanna, the majestic lion is a predator perfectly adapted to hunt. But that natural habitat doesn't exist in a vacuum. It sits right up against human agricultural lands, like the Maasai territory bordering Nairobi National Park. For international tourists, viewing these predators from the safety of a land cruiser is the highlight of a safari. For the locals living on the park's edge, these same animals are a daily liability. Maasai families rely heavily on their cattle for their livelihood and daily survival. To keep the herds safe at night, farmers lock them in small sheds. But this encloses the cows in a tight space, turning them into stationary targets at night. When a predator clears the fence and kills a cow, the financial hit is devastating. To protect their remaining assets, farmers track down and kill the offending lion in retaliation. That cycle creates a harsh reality. Humans lose their main source of income, and an endangered species is hunted down for acting on its natural instincts. The toll on the wildlife is severe. In 1 week alone, local conservationists monitored over 50 instances of livestock attacks. This chart tracks the lion population in Kenya. You can see the steep downward curve here, dropping until only an estimated 2,000 lions remain in the entire country. Outside experts tried to intervene. They introduced land leases and built expensive, heavy-duty fences, but predators kept finding ways through. The most effective answer to this conflict didn't come from a highly funded wildlife organization. It came from a 13-year-old boy named Richard Turere. Before Richard stepped in, his community tried standard deterrence. They lit fires and set up stationary lights around the cowsheds. The lions quickly realized these static objects posed no real threat and simply walked past them. One night, Richard took a flashlight and walked the perimeter of the enclosure himself. He noticed something specific. When he swept the beam of light across the darkness, the lions stayed away. The predators weren't afraid of the light itself. They were afraid of the motion. A moving light meant a human was actively awake and patrolling the area. To keep the herd safe, he didn't need to build a stronger wall. He just needed to trick the animals into thinking someone was out there holding a flashlight all night long. Making that happen was a challenge of resources. Richard didn't have a hardware store nearby, so he scavenged parts from broken electronics. This schematic shows a solar panel charging an old vehicle battery. The crucial component is a salvaged motorcycle indicator box. Wired to broken flashlight bulbs along the fence, it breaks the circuit so they flash sequentially, imitating a person walking the perimeter. He called them lion lights. Instead of trying to physically block a determined predator, he used basic electrical engineering to hack its psychology. After Richard installed the system, his family's cows were never attacked again. The solution was so undeniable that he ended up installing identical setups for 6 of his neighbors. This map shows how quickly the idea scaled. What started at a single cowshed in Kenya soon spread across borders, with communities in Tanzania and Zambia adopting the technology. Farmers in India are even testing the exact same configuration to keep wild tigers away from their livestock. A workaround built from scrap parts by a young teenager effectively solved an issue that seasoned experts had struggled with for years. It proves that the most effective engineering doesn't always require massive budgets or outside consultants. Often, the best answers come from those living closest to the problem every single day. Richard's invention eventually took him on his very first airplane ride, flying him to California to speak on the TED stage. And while presenting his work to scientists and scholars was an achievement, his biggest highlight came from a side trip to the local aquarium. For the boy who saved the apex predator of the savannah, the most amazing part of the journey was seeing a shark for the first time.